name's Rebecca Rylands. Today I'm going to present to you some information that I've put together in conjunction with the release of the book, Women Making a Difference. This is part of the online book launch festival. My chapter is called Identity, Music and Self-Care. I'm a registered counsellor, and it's a personal journey of a helping professional that I'm talking about in my chapter. I've loved all the things that have been part of writing this and also sharing my journey with others. So I'm a mother of three, a business owner, and I use creative expression and drum therapy to bring about healing and self-reflection. The importance of self-care is something that I've discovered over my career, spanning about 15 years, working with people in the helping professions. So I've noticed that it's important as a professional, really to do your job, to look after yourself first and foremost, to sustain working in these professions. But also I've noticed that it's something that's a theme with a lot of people I work with, as well as neglect of their own self-care, self-worth is low. And if we can start to apply some self-soothing, warmth, gentleness, non-judgment to ourselves, then we can start to put the building blocks of our life back together. And the self-compassion, it comes with kindness and understanding, knowing that it's quite normal to beat ourselves up, but it's not necessary. A definition of self-compassion is treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding as you would a dear friend. Often we might have a tone of voice that's a lot more harsh than we would speak to a friend. And when we can become more kind with the way we speak to ourselves and be more forgiving and learn from things that haven't gone so well, we're not stuck in that cycle of guilt that can be so defeating, and we're not able to move forward sometimes if there's regret and we're focused on all the negative. So when we start to release some of that, we can move forward and see things as they are. And the benefits is that we can reduce stress, we can improve our mental health and increase resilience. So this image here, at times I've had it more rocks on the helping others side, no rocks on the self-care side, and that doesn't go so well long term. But if we can start to balance out, how much we're giving, how much we're receiving, and really topping up our self-care means we can have more capacity to give, and also better boundaries around, giving and receiving as well. Asking for help, positive help seeking when necessary. So across my career, I have pivoted, I've changed careers, but they've all been related. So I, first of all, was a working musician, and then became a music teacher. Since 2009 was my first job, and I stayed in that job for 5 years, doing my best in a at times very stressful position, head of department as a young teacher, but I kept going. I would show up. Some days wouldn't feel so good as other days, but when it was rewarding, it was very rewarding, and I would just keep trying to do my best by the students despite the challenges. I also felt a calling to do more in the area of emotional development for young people, and I saw the beauty of group music making that could help people who had things like social anxieties holding them back, but when they had a role in a musical experience, then sometimes they would come out of their shells. It could help them to just become more skillful in their interactions. And so after I've been doing individual counseling sessions with people with talk-based therapies, I started to wonder, could I bring some of the music experiences I had had as a music teacher into a more therapeutic setting? And I did my Masters of Counseling, focusing on the social emotional development of adolescents and using drum circles to facilitate personal growth, with really good results, seeing that it was very helpful for people to be part of a group where they were able to reflect upon what was going well in their lives and also some of the difficulties that they were having, and to get that social support. And then also, having done that work for some time, I've been working as a speaker, as a facilitator, training up other facilitators who want to use music therapy as an approach within their work. So when doing personal work, sometimes you face the things that, you don't like about yourself or that you see as a limitation. And you can start to work through it, but it can be really confronting when you actually start seeing things as they are and what your patterns are. So it's both sides of the coin, not just your limitations, which some people focus quite highly on, also noticing your strengths. How have you survived to this point? What got you through those difficult times in the past? And when we can start to have those conversations with others or with ourselves through journaling, through self-exploration, we can start to manage our stress and anxiety better, because we're just noticing what's happening in the body and noticing patterns and doing things about them, and perhaps sharing when you need help, sharing that with others. And when you do that, it allows someone else to step in and be in a helper role as well. So seeing that we're not really one or the other, just a helper or a helping professional. At times we need help as well. And that can really help our clients warm to us, and other people who maybe, think we're doing great. When they see that we also have struggles, that can be a way of building connection. And I've noticed and witnessed the power of music in various settings. I've worked with drum circles in high schools. I've also worked in aged care settings where, people with difficulty remembering things with Alzheimer's and dementia, bringing music into their daily activities can be something that can take them back to a moment in their younger life and lighten them up, and seeing people connect with each other where there are difficulties in that space. So time and time again, I see people noticing within themselves that they're participating. They're an active participant while they're in a group music making experience, and they can then transfer that action into other areas of their lives too. Some of the strategies that I've come up with for self-care and that I use with people I work with is trying to create a self-care plan, come up with some practical self-care strategies. For me, this has been, noticing and reading my own energy levels, trying to reduce energy zapping tasks, choosing the right jobs at the right times during the day and even in my lifespan, changing where I need to, reducing hours of work, or getting more help in other areas of my life, to be in the best place I can be to help others. And pursuing passions as well that inspire and offer encouragement to others and to ourselves to keep going. You're on the right track. And when we embrace our imperfections, this is where we can learn the most. If we want to cover it over and pretend nothing happened and make excuses or blame other people, we're not able to actually really get the good stuff of that out of that learning experience. And if I'd waited for the perfect conditions before taking off, I would still be on the runway. There's always tomorrow. There's always, I'll wait for, a time that I'm more ready. But, when will that time come? So just start something and then you can hone it. And looking at this kid here, we have less of this idea that we have to be so good at everything we do when we're little kids. And we lose it the older we get. We get more baggage around how we might be perceived by others rather than just giving things a go. So when we can overcome these ideas of perfectionism and even performance anxiety and just strike that skin on the drum and give it a go and have a laugh, it can be really great for releasing emotions and connecting with others. When we connect with others, this collaboration and teamwork starts. We get out of our own worries in our own heads, and then we can start to contribute to community. Music adds to a group's cohesiveness and sticks communities together like glue, is a line from my chapter. And there's research around this that, it is one of the most effective and efficient ways to form group bonds. If you've made music with someone else, with a group of people, you feel an intimacy with them and a trust that you've been vulnerable. There are particular groups that I really love working with, diversity across all meanings of that, but particularly neurodiversity. And a group that I worked with in a high school setting, seeing young women who are coming to terms with a diagnosis around something like ADHD or ASD, and loving themselves and finding other like-minded friends, and seeing that they can actually drop some of that masking that they might be doing in the classrooms where they're expected to behave a certain way. Some of the stimming behaviors are very rhythmic, and then putting these rhythms onto a drum can be really soothing, cathartic. So self-expression and connection building, again, seeing people form friendships that last beyond the drum circle, out into the world that they go into after the session ends as well. And my own personal growth and motherhood. I really noticed my own challenges around executive function and emotional regulation when I became a parent myself. So sometimes we can cope with things to a certain extent in one setting, but the load of motherhood and career, and suddenly the to-do list feels like it's never ending. But each day, getting a little bit, further along the journey. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. These times that I've balanced work and parenting, it's not always been the perfect balance. I can admit that, and I'm working on it. But I will do things to prioritize what I value. So I was away for a work trip recently, and I took a book that my daughter was reading with me in my luggage so that I could call her up on the phone and read the chapter to her, actually until she fell asleep. And then I was really tired by the time this had finished, and I had my work event to attend as well. But I knew this was only for a couple of days and that these moments will pass. There will be a time when my children don't want bedtime stories anymore. So finding the resilience, digging deep, and also asking for help when needed. And my self-care tips, the takeaways, the daily practices for self-compassion. For me, drumming has really helped me find a mindfulness that I struggled with traditional seated meditation, where you're being completely still. With drumming slowly and at a low volume, this can be very calming for the nervous system. And applying self-compassion, especially when trying new things. kindness towards yourself and seeing that common humanity that we all struggle with this. So this importance of self-care and self-compassion, I'm going to keep, drumming this into you. I hope that you can embrace your imperfection and share your true self, your authentic self with the world. For me, I've leveraged my music therapy skills and I'm using that in multiple different settings, but also for yourself, looking at your passions, what drives you, what makes your soul sing. If we can serve ourselves first, then later we can help others. But I think it's got to be in that order. If anything that I've spoken about has interested you, if you'd like to get in touch to work with me or to see what I'm up to on social media, please do join me, reach out on email. You can check out my website for more information as well. And I'd really love to hear from you with any questions, comments, or feedback. And lastly, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this, and it's been my pleasure to present this information to you. And I hope that, you do go away and just start something that you've been putting off. I encourage you to do that and see where it leads.